Nilu is one of the newest SR characters released in Etheria Restart, and honestly, she looks amazing for plenty of reasons. In today's video, we'll be diving into everything you need to know about her abilities, where she might fit into your teams, and how you should build her for max value. But as a reminder, if you enjoyed today's video or learned something new, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. But as always, a big thanks to Etheria Restart for sponsoring today's video. And now, let's break down everything you need to know about Nilu. Let's start by breaking down Nilu's skills. Nilu's third skill applies an AoE vulnerable effect for 2 turns, and what's more is that it also grants the entire team a speed increase buff for 3 turns. If Nilu is properly built, this means your whole team can maintain said speed buff while the enemy is affected by vuln, making the debuff almost always active. Nilu's second skill takes a different approach. This targets a single enemy, hitting 4 times with relatively low damage. However, the true strength in this ability lies in how it supports your team. Each hit provides both healing and turn meter generation for the ally with the highest attack, and when added together, this accounts for an 80% turn meter boost and heals said allies for 48% of their max HP. This makes it an excellent tool to keep your strongest DPS healthy and also helps them cycle through more turns. Finally, Nilu's skill 1 is a straightforward single target attack with a chance to inflict vuln for 2 turns. Since this debuff provides a substantial damage boost, being able to apply it with her skill 1 is quite impressive, especially as it opens up the possibility of Bramble set. That said, because it's a basic attack and most characters run stages on auto, its impact isn't always immediately felt. With this, you may find the ability to be helpful, but it might also come at the cost of playing on manual or having a longer fight. Now let's talk about Nilu in PvP. To start, Nilu's kit is straightforward and versatile, but her naturally low speed makes it difficult for her to take the first turn. This immediately cuts into her overall strength, as many buffers benefit heavily from acting first, or can even be used to cheese fights by setting up massive buffs for a DPS to one-shot the enemy team before they can actually act. Instead, however, Nilu works best as a follow-up character in said teams, ideally after a faster control or turn meter increasing unit. Alternatively, you can build her with enough HP and defense to survive the enemy's first turn using defensive shells and matrix sets like Lighthouse and Bloodbath. When it comes to PvE, Nilu's speed issues become much less of a problem. Her speed buff is incredibly helpful in most PvE content, and taking more turns in general helps nearly every character regardless of the scenario. Additionally, the vuln debuff is amazing for teams that attempt to one-shot bosses, and while only a few characters like Dina and Diding typically have it, Nilu providing healing and vuln together makes this incredibly valuable. To add to this, the combo of her speed buff, vuln, neutral element typing, and her turn meter increases makes Nilu a versatile pick for most PvE teams. Now, of course, the elephant in the room is that characters like Lily may outperform her if you have access to them as well, but since vuln, the turn meter increase, and Lily's buffs all technically stack, there isn't anything that stops you from using Lily and Nilu together, and that just adds to her potential value. Now, for PvE content, Nilu does find decent value in fights like Aurora and Doki Doki, as both benefit from strong buffers or turn meter increases, especially in longer fights. Aurora in particular tends to run longer due to its need for a unit that strips immunity and another to heal off the debuff affecting allies, and this makes Nilu's combination of healing and DPS buffing quite useful. As a side note, Nilu's contribution to healing does also allow your primary heal source to lower their requirements or build quality, as having 2 healers is technically overkill for Aurora's damage debuff. As always though, since this heal is locked behind Nilu's skill 2, the value here can be argued against and a bit more difficult to play around. Now, while Doki Doki is often cleared in a cleave sort of setup with characters like Romoka, Kloss, or Yang, Nilu can still slot into both one-shot setups and slower Zenyatta-based comps, and this is because her vuln debuff specifically can overlap and stack with a character like Kloss's defense reduction. With this, she can be the perfect addition or replacement for Dina in a team like this, though of course she also offers turn meter increases after the first turn has already been taken, alongside a heal that does help since Doki Doki's enemies do actually hurt quite a bit. For build, you'll want to go with 12-piece Swift Rush and 12-piece Time Weave, and with this setup, Nilu's stats should fall around 20 to 30k HP, 150 to 200 effect accuracy, and 230 to 270 speed. Now keep in mind that Nilu isn't meant to be an opener, and instead you should actually speed tune her right after your opener to take advantage of her AoE vuln debuff the same way that you would with Kloss or someone like Dina. Now you might have also noticed that Nilu doesn't have room for a 6 or 8 piece set with this build, and this is because she often prefers the set effect of Time Weave, which offers her a 35% chance to reduce all Animus skill cooldowns by 1 turn. Now, although there are alternatives to this set in terms of providing less RNG, or in terms of a set that gives Nilu more stats, her kit is pretty standard, and the main alternative to this option is something like Bloodbath or Bramble, depending on if you prefer survivability or the chance to apply vuln with her skill 1. Now, as for her shell, you'll ideally use Artisan or Gigabyte, and you'll pair this with either Swift Rush and Time Weave sets for the speed and the added effect accuracy. As for her shell passives, you'll focus on HP% for slot 1, speed speed for slot 2, and effect accuracy for slot 3 to boost her survivability, speed, and chance of landing debuffs. This build ensures Nilu can effectively support your team by having more health and also having the proper speed tuning, all while keeping the enemy debuffed at the same time. Now let's talk about Nilu's worth in terms of build or investment. Now as for the pros, she does have a strong heal and turn meter increase for her main DPS, and she isn't an SSR, so both herself and additional copies of her are easier to obtain. And to add to this, Vuln is one of the few debuffs that you can actually apply to a boss aside from defense break to increase your overall DPS, and with this, having high uptime on both her speed buff and her Vuln debuff is quite valuable on pretty much any team. Now as for the cons, she does have fairly low base speed and cannot choose the target of her skill 2, but there honestly aren't that many cons in terms of her kit, with maybe the exception of needing to invest in her. However, that is most characters in this game, unfortunately. Now given Nilu's valuable buffs alongside her potent heal and turn meter increasing for your main DPS, she's obviously a strong support unit with a lot of potential. However, with her low base stats, it does make her somewhat more difficult to be used in PvP, and in addition to this, her inability to target specific units with their skill 2 can be a downside in certain situations depending on what you're using her in. However, if you're looking for a character who can consistently boost your team's speed and damage output, Nilu is a solid pick. That said, if you're focused on PvP, need a faster opener, and think that Nilu can fill this role, I'm sorry to say that she might not actually be the best choice. Ultimately, whether you should pull for Nilu depends on your team's needs and whether you're willing to invest in her full potential. And now, some gameplay footage in case you're curious as to what to expect.
正好。
我将以太阳之名。
可恶！
照耀吧！看吧，我会为你献上最华美的谢幕。下一个，嘿嘿，茄子，沉沦吧！任何违规行为都将被制止。糖果准备好了，接下来，火力全开！送你们一份大礼，注意签收啊！回魂，哈哈，尝尝这个。糖糖，阿朵，跟我出击！
But again guys, thanks to Etheria Restart for sponsoring today's video, and thank you again for watching. I'll see you on the next one. Stay safe, stay healthy. Good night.